Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 388, and today we're doing battle with Jax Jinx Concurrent Timelines. And so, if you caught our previous video, we did play the Jax Vi Concurrent Timelines deck in a Ruthless Rumble, and I was quite happy with it. Has a lot of the aspects that I like to bring into this format. It's playing Concurrent Timelines, which is exceptionally powerful, has a lot of ways to overwhelm your opponent with Jax or with using Vi and then giving her Scout or giving her Overwhelm, and then the just go over the top kind of plan of using the burn spells to finish off the game, and then having those improvised equipments returned to our hand and then be discarded to the burn package with the blowbacks and the get exciteds. I liked everything that was happening there, but I wasn't super happy with the inclusion of Vi. Like, I get it, you know, she's a strong champion. You're generating all of these equipments. If you give her Overwhelm, she can come in as a 12 attack Overwhelmer. If you give her Scout, she can very easily deal 10 damage if she's flipped, and she has a pretty meaty stat line with 4 toughness base and the tough ability, but she's not that great if you don't draw her early, and she's a very dead draw in your hand in the early game, and so you have to kind of get into this odd sequence to where you kind of want to keep Vi in your opening hand, but you can't play her until turn 5, so she's just a dead card, and so you want to mulligan her away for cards that you can play, but then if you draw her on turn 5, she's only a 2-power unit, and that's not super exciting. And so I was thinking to myself, it's like, well, I really like a lot of the discard package that's already in the deck between the get exciteds and the blowbacks, and why don't we just kind of enhance that with the usage of Jinx and the get excited package, give us a little bit more reach, and maybe look to a more discard heavy approach with this deck. And so that's the kind of general idea here. The ways that we've looked to edit our deck with that idea in mind is that we've completely cut out the parts made whole. That's the 4-mana discard thing that draws some extra cards. Replace those with Rummages. We've included a couple of extra copies of Zaunite Urchin to help us dig to our deck and find this Concurrent Timelines if it doesn't show up in our opener. And then this usage of Zaunite Urchin, Augmented Experimenter, and Rummage all kind of tie in together with helping our Jinx flip. And so hopefully having this enhanced burn package, this bigger burn package, will give us a little bit of an edge in closing out these games to where the units just aren't going to be doing it. And so that's the deck. That's what we're going to be doing battle with today. Let's go ahead and jump on in, see what we can do. And so I will say before these games start, we usually look to make the videos about an hour. We usually get 8 games in, but the Timelines deck tends to be pretty slow. And so if you were expecting the full 8 games today, you're probably not going to get it. The matchmaking is breaking as well, and so maybe we just won't play any games today. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, come on, intern. Maybe if we click on something and then click back to play, it'll let us jump in the game. Oh my goodness. Alright, trying this again. I restarted the game. Hopefully hopefully that got us in the space to where the queue is going to get fixed a little bit. Jump on in. Maybe it says you're playing Concurrent Timelines. We're not going to queue you into any other non-Concurrent Timelines players. But reasonable enough. Starting off up against Jax. Let's see what we can do here. We don't have any timelines in our opener, so we'll just go ahead and mulligan away everything. See if we can't find the see if we can't find the timelines, and if we don't find it, at least something like this to where we can present a little bit of aggression against this this Ryze deck. We have the all-star crew ready to pound in with the Eager Apprentice into Castaway into Combat Cook, but picking up the timelines on turn 2, easy peasy. That's what we can do. So we're going to play the Eager Apprentice. Fantastic ad. We're going to want to see if we can't get him up to 3 attacks so we can battle through our friend over here. And I think the Jagged Taskmaster is okay in this space. I don't think opponent's going to flow this turn, so we shouldn't be running into a what do you call it? A mechanical dragonling. And so looking at these, I kind of like the combat reel, given that we have a lot of kind of burn spells in hand, but I do like the Sandsworn Amulet's ability to just attack through what the opponent has. And now, this is actually a pretty tempting, well, I was going to say it's a pretty tempting 5-punch Pablo, but there's a 4-2 over here to the left. Opponent shouldn't have too many plays that are capable of actually getting in front of this Perfectionist. And so very real chance we get to blast in for a ton of damage this turn. All right, so yeah, there's been a lot of controversy over the course of the weekend in terms of concurrent timelines. Everybody has to have something to bitch about, and so why not have that thing be concurrent timelines? And it's I get it. My kind of problem with concurrent timelines isn't so much that it's too strong. Like I concede that it is on the strong end of the spectrum, but my kind of thing with the timelines is it just takes so long to actually use that it doesn't feel like the game is flowing right as you're sitting around just thinking on the first card and thinking on the second card. I've never really liked how long everything actually takes, so kind of is what it is, but that's always been my problem. Now this is a interesting choice, and do we want to actually just discard Jax? Like, we have these fantastic improvised units in our hand, and I just don't think we need him at this point. What do we got? Deny comes in, sure thing. We still get to stay mana effective here with the Piltover Castaway coming in, giving us a mana back, and then dropping a Combat Cook next turn. That all sounds well and good to me. With these, we pick the Fix Him 5000, help our unit win in combat. A lot of weak units coming out of these, but I guess the Willy Newtfish isn't terrible, having the 3/3 elusive to potentially draw us some cards. Probably not going to be able to play that drawn card next turn, but still a reasonable attacker here, and opponents getting like really drained out of resources. They only have 2 cards in hand at this point. They haven't popped off any of the Ryze things, and so could be a challenge for them to fight their way through this. So with our Combat Cook, let's pick up the Scout Rake. I'm not opposed to actually taking this Silverwing Vanguard. It's going to get the +1/+1 off of the Rake, or the Rake is going to be forged, I should say. So we should be able to say Scout Attack into the Eye of the Dragon, try and finally get this Dum-Dum off of the board, and then maybe we'll get a strong attack after that. Just killing off the Claws of the Dragon and attacking with our Elusive and our Fearsome feels pretty good on the turn. Alright, so Eye of the Dragon removed. Nice. Sorry the deck tracker's not on the screen. I've been having a lot of trouble with this stupid thing over the course of the past few days. I'm ready to move on and move over. Like, I want to use the Runeterra.ar one, but I was having some issues with it in the past, and then now need to kind of look elsewhere, but not quite sure where that elsewhere is. I guess I'm not certain if the Mastering Runeterra folks actually have their own app or not, but this thing's just been annoying. It gets especially annoying if you have 2 accounts, because the app just doesn't work as you switch to the second account. So the struggles, I tell you. All right, opponent finally comes in and finds a Ryze. We got to try and finish this game off before he gets to pop in here, and so I'm gonna just go try and go as big as we can. I think I'm happy with the Rune Squire as a means to bring in a challenge next turn, and then we can discard this Zaunite Urchin, or we can discard the Rake to the Zaunite Urchin to try and find. Is that even? Oof, man, I don't think I like that. We can just put the Rake onto the Newtfish and then discard the other equipment. Because right, the quick attack equipment's not that spectacular here, right? The opponent's probably not even going to add any more units to the board. And so if we get Scout onto our Newtfish and then we discard the Rake, or discard the quick attack to the Urchin and look for another burn spell, that sounds kind of nice to me. Alright, opponent's doing their digging. Let's see what we can do. Alright, all the trinket trades coming in. For sure, my dude. I've delivered you a for sure. that newt fish. He says, I'm ready, bro. Let me get to combat. Let me get to it. And an eager apprentice. I'll hold off on him. If we pick up a Get Excited, there's a pretty good chance we'll want to discard it. And the apprentice isn't a super strong unit at the current moment. Alright, get in there, Scout Bro. Sure. No Nexus strikes or anything. A bit of a bummer. Interesting. If it puts the plus cost onto the Eager Apprentice, then we can get the stronger unit timeline with it. Very good chance we just add it to the board this turn to overwrite the newt fish. We really want to be ending the game this turn if we can. So Blacksmith comes in. Let's go with the Pot of Pain. Try and get that point of impact damage in, I guess. Now we have the Overwhelm unit turn up. I guess the stats would have been a little bit better there, but it is what it is. Alright, rip Scout Rake. Now everybody else, let's get you into combat. I guess we ought to do it the right way, given that he could have, I don't know, I can't really imagine that he's going to be playing the Barrier Lifesteal card, but if he does, you know, we want it down here on the worst units. Unworthy Soul coming through, so he falls to 1, but we get his Ryze off the board and he only has 1 card in hand. Okay. Okie dokie. And Jinx turns up. We should be able to flood all of this stuff onto the board. Hopefully that'll be enough to end the game. How much is all this? 4, 7, 9, 11 if we want. I was looking to put the Shepherd's Authority onto the Waste Walker because it can't block anyways. But that's not gonna play out. That's not gonna track. Sure, let's copy in some Mystic Shots. And here doesn't really matter. Let's go with the Elnick because everybody likes the big cows, you know. That's a deck worth bitching about. Everybody bitching about Concurrent Timelines these days. Go out there and start bitching about the Elnick's deck. That was a load of no fun whenever that thing was around. Y'all probably don't remember the Elnick's deck. Alright, the bets have been placed. The Jinx coming on in. Call it a day, my friend. Doing Star Guardian shit out here. Oop. GG. Alright, so yeah, I'll restart the deck tracker, see if we can't get it up on screen, let you see the deck list as we play. It's a pretty big ask, I know, but I don't know. Everybody's had a lot of trouble with the release of Eternal, and it's a little concerning to me. If we can actually get the deck tracker up, I'm just going to exit it and restart it. But it's concerning to me in the sense that the deck tracker still hasn't loaded in the new cards from the Variety Patch. So we'll see if it comes up. But like, this makes sense to me, right? They haven't been able to split out the standard ladder versus the master's ladder. So if you're looking at these deck lists on here, and this is actually Nick Makes Plays, right? He's currently ranked 2 on the ladder in standard, but if you click on his deck thing, it's pulling up Thresh Nasus from Eternal. So they haven't fixed that yet. If the deck actually comes up, it hasn't loaded in like Blowback and the other cards yet either, and so it's a bit awkward there. But on to the next one. Opponent playing Jinx, Bandle City, P, and Z. I'm curious if they're playing Timelines like we are, or if they're playing like a Poros style deck. You had the Jinx Poro, or the Jinx Lulu Poros style deck there for a while. What? I'm gonna lean towards they're probably just playing the timelines. Been a very popular version of timelines in Vandal City PNZ that typically just plays no champions, but I'd understand adding Jinx into the mix. But as far as this goes, reasonable enough start for just a standard non-timelines-y game. We got 2 improvised units into Jinx. None of these opposing like Vandal City PNZ decks tend to have fantastic ways to answer a Jinx, and so we might be able to throw her down early and just let the combats begin, and hopefully they'll invest a bunch of cards into her and we'll just swap it out later, but we'll see how this goes. Combat Reel's a reasonable start. Let us start picking up some of those spell manas on our attack. I dig everything that's going on. I dig it all, I tell you. Oof. Forgot to update our score.
The sun rock got me good.
Alright, opponent discards Pie Toss. Again, I'm still curious as to what we're running into here. If this is a timelines deck that hasn't drawn timelines. Pastry Toss doesn't strike me as a card that those decks typically play.
Rather be sailors, but this looks fun too.
Alright, everybody's got a Castaway. I'm leaning towards the Amulet on this one. Well, we should probably pick up the Pot of Pain against the Vandal City deck. I'm curious with them discarding the 1 damage ping, if they still just have a bunch of like Pokey Stick style cards in hand.
Bury me at sea.
Interesting.
At loggerheads, eh?
He discarded a he played Electro Harpoon, which is interesting, but then discarded the Wandering Shepherd. Just don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you. So Jax turns up. Let's go ahead and get this Jinx online. I'll feel much safer with her if we're able to slap the Pan of Pain onto her. Let her come in and just soak up any of the 1 damage pings they may have. With opponent playing Imminent Benefactor, they have to be playing timelines. They just haven't drawn it in the same way that we haven't drawn it.
Smile! It's called gunplay.
Alright. Getting that Jax real close to leveling up when you get to come at him with the 10 damage there. So with this space, I want to do a couple of things this turn. I'd like to play Eager Apprentice, Jax, and Concurrent Timelines, which is 5 of our 6 mana. We might find ourselves needing to remove one of these units, but I mean maybe this is okay to just block with Jinx and then use Blowback. To try and take this guy down. Looking to discard Rummage. We can discard Combat Reel. And then we can move into a more Jinx-centric round this turn. And so this Jinx may not survive, right? I didn't have the highest of expectations for her to make it. And she died. And so that's why we didn't get rid of the Get Excited. We didn't play the Get Excited. I didn't think that she was going to make it for the turn. But we did get that extra combat strike in. Our Jax is all nice and flipped now. Happy in that sense. Although playing the timelines does kind of mess with our mana here. Alright, so we'll start with the Apprentice. Keeper of the Box is a fantastic addition. He can get equipped for the turn. Like that. Let us regain some of that health. Jax is looking pretty healthy on this board as well. He's primed and ready for action. And then we can look to add our second Jinx next turn, perhaps.
Got more scars than years. Got a lot of years.
And a Banana Blast on the Jax. It's only 2 damage. It's not enough to kill him. We'll be ready with the counter strike for the next one. He's going to get to regain a little bit of health here since he's already leveled up. So, should be a little bit more challenging. I'm not certain if opponent just didn't recognize what was about to happen or what was going on. But at the end of the day, our Jax is out here and ready to party.
The answer is here somewhere. You're gonna want to watch this.
Okay, so he's still safe for the moment. Then we can look to add in Jinx, Pot of Pain, do our own Experimenter next turn. Sounds pretty good.
Just you and me, Fishbones. And them.
Sounds pretty good to me. What do we got here? A blacksmith? Okay. Anybody cool in the mix? Not really. kind of a weak collection of sixes here, but the Scar Mother Virna's fine. GG unlocked. Well played. On to the next one. Alright, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the deck tracker up. I'm going to restart the game. See if that gets us there. Alright, let's try that again. Another thing I've been meaning to ask. I know there's like a group of people that watch the entirety of the videos, and then there's another group of people that typically watch like the start one game and then skip to the end. It was much more apparent back in the times of Expedition when people would like watch the draft. You'd maybe watch the first game, skip to the final battle, and then listen to the exit. And I've been curious if it would be useful to actually link all of the games in the description and put what deck we are playing against. And so if you're looking to see a specific matchup or something, and then it would be a little bit more available in terms of what we were putting forth. So not quite certain what opponent is putting forth here. Like, are we okay to just trade out the Jax? I don't know. This isn't a particularly scary Mistwraith at the moment. And I mean, if we're going to be quick attacking next turn, I think we just let this happen. We'll drop the timelines. And then I'm going to just start in with the regular game plan. Like, it's kind of one of these spots to where if, we're going to get into combat with a Mistwraith. I think I'd rather take 2 damage now and then trade with a 4 power one later, as opposed to just getting in front of it right away. But here, found the big boy and the Badger Bear. Always nice additions. Well done on turn 3. Feeling good and feeling strong.
Let me change up my style.
So you play your 2/2 for 3. I'll pay my 5/6 impact attune for 3. Gotcha. Makes sense to me. Oh, bring it right back. Sure thing, boss. Interesting, Fearsome coming down now. You usually don't play the dog just defensively like this. So let's move in with the Eager Apprentice here. I like that we can potentially find a 3 attack 2-drop. That's not too big of an ask. We didn't get it in here. I'm going to, I think, go with the Chronomancer since it's able to block a dog. Is that how we want to go? But I was like, the biggest win we could have had for this turn was if we hit a 3 power unit on the cheap play, and then we had the Mystic Shot mana to kill off another Mistwraith. So it didn't quite come together, but this is okay. We get to prevent a ton of damage this way. Our Jax is going to flip, so he's going to be ready to just crash in with the Overwhelms.
And you know what?
And then we'll have this big boy coming down next turn in the combat hook.
My work.
Not a terrible time for these things like Rummage as well, as we have a load of mana and we can start discarding some equipment. So combat cook comes in. I'm going to go with the Fixin' 5000 so it survives this upcoming combat. The Island Navigator is looking like the strong one here, giving us those big scout attacks for the round. I dig it. We could look. Well, I was going to say, we can look to say put the Pot of Pain onto the scout. Oh, no, it just naturally has scout. Never mind. We didn't pick up the scout equipment. I was wanting to attack twice with Jax this turn, but the downside to attacking twice with Jax is he loses out on his on his quick attack from the Light of Acacia, right? He gets overwhelmed naturally, but the quick attack's coming from the equipment. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Zaunite Urchin down. I'm not intending on attacking with it this turn, but I want to play it. It's going to count as an equipped unit for Jax, and then it's going to be big enough to block a Fearsome next turn. So he's going to hang out at home for the moment, right? This is not a particularly compelling board to send a rando 3/3 into. It just trades with opponent's 4/1. But if opponent plays a Soul Cleave or something on this next turn, now we have a unit ready to get into combat. All right, I'm just gonna rummage both of these cards away. Neither are particularly strong. Combat Cook, get excited. Okay. So I'm gonna take let's go with the Fish-A-Whack. Having the big overwhelms next turn should hopefully be enough to end the game. Life Stealer in the Life Blade. That feels good.
All the spoons were dirty.
I think we're set now. I don't think this attack kills us anyways, but having the Life Blade primed and ready to gain us a bunch of health is pretty strong.
Eyes open.
So how bad can this go? If something gets messed up in this, we don't die, right? He's only got 10 damage coming into our 18. So that sounds like a win to me. Now we can start bringing the heat with what we got left over.
Always forward.
Withering Wail. Uh-oh.
Return me to the sea.
Rip you, my dude. This is not looking good. Jax isn't capable of closing on this board. We can get rid of the Light of Acacia, so let's do that. Is that where we want to be? If we take his quick attack away, so let's see what happens, right? So we put the Pot of Pain onto Jax. That's going to make him a 5 attack, and then we get to attack. He becomes a 6 attack. Opponent blocks with the Mistwraith, so that he gets the kill. And so we only overwhelm 4. That's not enough. Oh, this is nasty, man. I thought we were much safer. I mean, we're not in a terrible spot. We can still look to get excited down some of these units. We're gonna get smoked if opponent has a harrowing style card. So can we get out of this? Let's see. I mean, we have to let the harrowing go. We need to find a Mystic Shot off of the Clock Leg. Didn't find it. So we gotta skip here. Oh, we can't even do it with Mystic Shot, right? We're gonna be a little bit short. That's gonna do it. GG. So interesting. I'm curious if there was an angle we could have taken to have just gotten a little bit more damage in on that last turn. I mean, it's not unreasonable to really be like, I don't know. Like Withering Wail was like so far off of my radar. Like it's weird when you have to jump into a matchup against like Kayle Nocturne like that. I guess Kayle makes like a touch of sense given that all of the Mistwraiths are attacking, but typically when you're playing Mistwraiths, you don't play a lot of really interactive style cards. It's typically just like combat tricks at best. So we could have, like, if we knew what we were really up against, we could have done some shit like play the Pot of Pain to boost our scout unit's health, and then replay the Scout Rake and attack. Like we could have done a lot of stuff with our equipment there, but I had no idea that a Withering Wail was going to be coming in. All right, moving on, moving forward. Let's go with the... We're not going to play any spells for the Starlit Seer, right? So let's just take the Crimson Disciple.
Yep, 10 times running.
It's going to have some opportunities to do those Nexus damages.
I love a taste of the action.
All right, see Assaulter. Does that count as 4 damage for Jax? He cares about combat damage, right? Our allies have struck, so the impact doesn't count. Vora comes in. Come in with the Castaway. So I'm typically just leaning towards combat reels, right? This doesn't seem like a matchup to me to where we have to worry a ton about.
You can fix anything with anything.
Don't have to worry a ton about just cheap burn, right? Like Hate Spike makes sense, but things like Vile Feast not as much. So I'm gonna just go for the spell here. Now I'll add in the Hookmaster. We'll follow up with Jax. I'm gonna look for a good attack this turn. So let's get the quick attack. Battlecaster's looking strong here. All right, not bad. Evelynn comes in. No hate spikes from her.
That's my Laura.
So how much are we willing to just attack directly into this Evelynn? Like, I don't think I care to lose our Jax here. Right, we could say pivot to just play the Eager Apprentice. Maybe that's the way to go. So we still get the additional attack in. Opponent's gonna slam Evelynn into the Battlecaster, the 3/3. I mean, if the 3/3 has to trade with an Eager Apprentice, that can't feel very good.
My turn.
Alright, aren't you getting bonus attack, Eager Apprentice? Oh, there it goes. I missed it. Okay. Interesting blocks, but sure. Eager Apprentice has been removed. So hopefully we just have to survive this Evelynn. Viego's got a couple of turns before he's available.
Let's keep going.
Ideally, this Jax will be able to close things down next turn. Jinx along with the discard. That's not a terrible thing to see. Alright, Neverglade Collector coming in. Gonna take a bit of elusive damage this turn, but not the end of the world. We're opening, so I'm just gonna take the Fish a Whack. Just take the biggest unit here. I don't really want the Sea's Voice. I guess there's not too much reason to not want the little tentacles. Shouldn't be like clogging up our board in a bad way.
Scream.
1,000 years of battle, and I'm just warming up.
All right, just warm it up, Jax. Slam on in for these damages.
By pounding bad guys.
Should be in a pretty good spot now.
That was hot.
All right, so let's just bring out a little to big. The opponent does have Neverglade Collector on board. We're not in this point to where we're about to die or anything, but we should probably give it a little due respect.
Do you feel her presence?
Not really, right? Not really. I don't know how opponent's supposed to get out of this.
Time to die.
Bring in a lot more Withering Whales or something, right? Jax block isn't the way to stop a ton of damage. Whatever your spell is, you need to be casting it on Jax. He's going to overwhelm for the extra damages here. Opponent says, that's too much. You boomed me too hard, bust. GG. On to the next one.
Winning never gets old.
Winning never gets old. You're not wrong about that, Jax. You're not wrong. So what do we got here? It's the Seraphine Ezreal deck. You got it, my dude. So let's see. Not really excited about anything in this start. We'll just take the full mulligan. You don't want Jax in the early game, right? He does read as a 2-mana unit, but more realistically, he's like, to me, he's like a 6-drop that you can play on turn 2. And so if you're in a bind to where you need to drop him and block, or you just don't have anything else in your hand and you need to spend your mana, then fine, Jax can come down on turn 2. But he's realistically an expensive unit that has a low cost. All right, nice start with the timelines. Nice curve to go along with it. Feels good. Feels good. Let's start with the Sandstorm Amulet. It should be a...
Sometimes you're the fish, sometimes you're the
should help us just punch through a bunch of damage here in the early game. Those choices weren't great. You don't want to be... you don't want to timelines into an ephemeral unit, so that one can go. But this is a pretty meaty looking Vanguard Defender. I touched on in our previous video a little bit in the sense that I really like tough units in this format, as there's so much Vandal City that is just trying to put like 1 health units on, or deal 1 damage with like pokey sticks and the like. That just a lot of real power there. Now here you can take Chief Knack Attack if you're not familiar with how the timelines works. It counts as a transform, and so. As we look to play the Combat Cook next turn, he should get the Improvise come into play, transform into the newer unit, and then get the 1/1 and impact from Knack Attack. Very, very awesome stuff. Very awesome. So what we got? We'll take the Pot of Pain, just the highest damage one. And we want to go for the triple. You can go for the triple impact in the Grenadier, but Steam having Scout should be worth it. Just a ton of damage out of this. Seraphine, Ezreal, I don't know what you're doing with 4 mana here, but it's not gonna be much. It's not gonna be much. GG. All right, so we're gonna get one more game in. I've lost track of time. I don't know how far into the video we are. I had to stop it so many times just trying to get the deck tracker on the screen. Feels like these games have gone at a reasonable clip, and we're probably kind of safe to get up to 8 games. But I'm gonna stop it at 6 today. And so, if you're upset about that, get mad at the deck tracker people. It's not my fault. It's theirs. You gotta shift blame somewhere, right? And so for this hand, I wanted to kind of find a 3, but it's not super upsetting if we don't. And so we have the timelines into Hookmaster, into Combat Cook. That's all well and good. I'll take a simple mulligan from a Combat Cook away. We picked up a Jinx. She's not super exciting at this exact moment, but she should be a strong option against Katarina Annie if she's in a spot to come down, generate a Death Rocket, go into the next turn, draw 2, generate another Death Rocket, and then get killed. That's a lot of value out of a singular card here.
Come on, Tibbers. It's playtime.
All right, you play your Annie. I'll play my timelines. Opponent unhappy with the outcome. Unhappy. Master coming in. Pot of Pain is a fantastically strong one against Annie Katarina. They have so many 1 damage pings. The reason I take pause is like you might want to find a little bit of a better unit to put the tough onto, but we don't have a lot to really go on here, and so we'll go ahead and send it in. If opponent trades out with the Veteran Investigator early, then we can just equip that Pot of Pain somewhere else, or maybe we find a time to just slap it on Jinx and have her be very protected. No dudes for this turn. A little sad, you know. Opponent wants to, or I'm saying we want to really be playing these units every turn to get the upgrades from the timelines. Just don't have any dudes to play this turn. A little sad, but still looking strong. Block. Like if we get to, like, I guess the Disintegrate would be quite good here. That would make me feel a little bit worse about what's going on, but that's okay. I'm gonna go with the Scout Rig here, see if we can't get a strong attack in right at the start. Brash Gambler is kind of sick. We can't use it at the moment, so I'm gonna go with the Sandcrafter, but generating cards, not that bad. So again, one of the things people are making a lot of complaints about after the Mastering Runeterra weekend is the people being able to bring triple timelines lineups to the field. I'm curious if oh, interesting. I'm curious if that shouldn't be in the sense to where instead of not being able to bring like the Riot Lock format right now to where you can only bring 3 sets of 2 factions, you can't overlap your factions, right? So you can't play 2 Noxus P and Z decks, even if the champions are different, right? So you can't play something like Jinx Draven in one lineup and then, I don't know, Rumble, Scion, whatever, as your second. You can't do that. I'm curious if the answer isn't to say that you can't just play more than 3 cards across all of your decks. And so the concurrent timelines you could play, but you just can't, you're more limited in what you're able to really bring it up against. I'd be curious. Right, this has been kind of a problem in the past in the terms of how close is Andy to flip here? You gotta pay attention for a hot second. But you kind of ran into the problem in the past where you could say play 3 champion strength decks, or you could play 3 harrowing decks, and things along those kind of angles. And I'm curious if that's not more so the answer than having the current format as it is. All right, but let's continue on with this one. Go with the Fearsome, just trying to set up decent boards. LOL, when I'm summoned, grant me +1/+1 for each other Yordle ally you have. That doesn't apply here because you don't get the summon effect, but it was interesting to see that we have the Yordles on board ready to to soak up the strength. But we're getting pretty close to this Jinx. Taking the 3 bank into next turn should get us into a spot to where we're maybe able to play Jinx, a Rake, a Blowback, and then get all of our stats on board and such. This all looks very good to me.
Persistence is key. Easy does it.
Go away.
Uh-oh, he's picking up the condense. He says, watch this, bro. I'm gonna discard your Jinx. I'm gonna get you real good. Who do we lose? The Blowback. Okay, that's kind of manageable. Do we want to actually just go ahead and play the timelines? I think so. Just to get the card out of our hand. Like if we had the Blowback in hand still, then it's a very easy thing to just come in and discard. But well, let's just get that one away. We're not going to find the time to play it anytime soon. Still struggling to get this Jinx out of our hand, though.
They're afraid.
Rummage disagrees. Alright, so the Katarina's in hand. I mean, there shouldn't be too much that we actually have to worry about at this exact moment. Let's just go ahead and start burning.
Jinx stands for Jinx.
Durr. Says, oh dang, Bust, you booming me with the big cards. Oh dang.
Let the bloodshed begin.
Interesting. we'll take the Jinx flip, pick up the Death Rocket, see what turns up. Opponent says that's enough. I was curious what angle he was trying to take there with Katarina. Like, there's no way we're just getting comboed by something. We got really zinged in the previous video by a rally onto a bunch of Plaza Guardians, and I was getting a little bit worried there. But nonetheless, good collection of games. We can bring this up, talk about it a little bit more. And so I think that the kind of couple of points to really illustrate out of that were, I didn't run into any spots over the course of any of those games to where I wanted Vi. And we did run into a lot of spots to where Jinx was exceptionally good. And I think it's easy to be in this kind of mindset to where you get used to playing decks like discard Jinx Draven, discard aggro, whatever you want to call that, or playing decks like even say like Lulu Jinx, to where you're playing still a lot of the same discard elements. You have the Yordles package, maybe the Mecha Yordle discard things, but you don't have to be like super aggressive in leveling up this Jinx. She doesn't have to level on turn 6. You can wait a little bit longer, and I really like what she brings to the table in terms of having this burn package that you can send to the face. And so it's a very interesting addition to the deck. At the end of the day, do you really need to be like leaning in on Jinx or Jax for a deck like this to be manageable? No. Like the only champion you really need to be considering in terms of the concurrent timelines decks is going to be Trundle, and Trundle generating the ice pillars. That's a whole nother topic. But in terms of decks like this, could it get by without Jinx or Jax or Vi or whoever? Yeah, but I think that they do add something to the deck in terms of what they're bringing to the table, and especially in the games to where you don't draw the timelines. Like, it's so nice having this just like gigantic surge of power that you get out of Jinx in the games where you don't draw the timelines. And so that's one of the things that I feel like really hurts the, say, like the Banana Blaster version of the deck, is to where it does have a lot of value and it can really just dirtle for a long time, but it doesn't have that like really high impact play that says, oops, I didn't draw timelines, but I'm still about to fuck you up, right? And so without something like that, your opponent can still just draw to their Riptide Rex, they can draw to their Ryze, they can draw to their whatever expensive or thing that can really punish you for having a slow draw. But Jinx and the burn package really give you a kind of way to say, like, well, I did have this slow draw. I got to get in some chip damage, but I can still hit you in the face for 9 or 11 or 12 damage, even though we aren't really having a very aggressive combat-oriented draw. And so I do think that that's one of the kind of interesting things that Jinx and this style of the Timelines decks really brings to the table that you don't get out of the Trundle version and you don't get out of the Bandle City version, to where those decks, if they flounder early, they can grind you on forever, right? There's no denying that. They can really make the game last and last and last, and then maybe draw timelines later on and then get 2 or 3 good units in with it. But they don't have this real high impact power that we get out of this the package that says, well, I can just end the game. And I think that that's kind of an interesting take that gets added into the deck here. But nonetheless, good stuff. I enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed it too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.